last year, not pitching at all. He has 411 total bases, leads the league, 54 homers, 130 RBIs, 59 steals, caught only 4 times. And this year, they're going to ruin everything and let him pitch. How about that? I know I'm a killjoy on this, but like if I had this player,
yeah,
right?
I got you.
And if I had this player right now, if you had this player, your longtime GM, what would you do knowing that he can be a great pitcher, but can he be a great pitcher and be that offensive player at the same time?
Well, I mean, the reality of it, even if I was a GM, he's going to do what he wants to do, or he would never sign with me in my club. So I would have to let him pitch and hit. But from a pure baseball perspective, BK, when he hit and pitched, he averaged weighted run created plus between 140 and 150. He averaged around 40 home runs versus the numbers that you just put out. I just like for the 20 starts that he's going to give you this year to keep him healthy, I think you're losing a lot of value. And you know what's crazy about it? Like I say this, the best predictor of future injuries or past injuries, he's been a 2-time recipient now of Tommy John. So unless he changes something dramatically in his delivery, I would assume that he'll have another one at some point in time.
Right now, the torn labrum is in the left shoulder, so he's not pitching with that, but he's coming off the surgery for his right elbow, and he did have it is on his body, a torn labrum. By the way, he's had hip issues. He kind of broke down, did not play the last month of 2023. Like, obviously, he's historic he's doing unprecedented things. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be a killjoy about it, but I'm just wondering if the Dodgers, in their quiet moments, Andrew Friedman and his team think, what's the best way of maximizing this talent? I wonder how often they think, can we minimize the pitching and keep the position players?
Well, you think about it, if he wasn't pitching, he wouldn't be DHing either. Like, we don't ever talk
exactly,
about...
play right field.
So you think about his WAR value as a defensive player on top of his... He'd be a 10, 11, maybe a 12.
He's a 9-win player last year.
He might be 11, 12 win players. That means you're 11, 12 wins better than another player at that position when you start the season before it's even thrown.
Right.
And so we never talk about that.
All right, so you'd be tempted.
Oh, I'd be real tempted. I've said all along, I'd love to see him be a one-inning reliever, leverage guy. I don't know how you could pull that together, but I would only do that just to pacify him. I would like to run him out for 160-some games as an everyday position player. I think he'd be one of the best players to ever play the game.
See, I'd be really tempted to do that. I know it's difficult in the real world, but I'll tell you how much, if anybody out there thinks, oh, you know, I'm hating on him as a pitcher, I put him in my top 10 starting pitcher list this year.
Well, he's that good of a pitcher, too.
So that even coming off the surgery, I think he will end up having 130 excellent innings, but I think offensively, I don't think there's any way he can do what he did last year and be pitching at the same time. Do you?
No, and I definitely don't think he's going to come close to those stolen base numbers. I mean, he might get 20. I'm imagining he'll hit 40 home runs again, and his weighted runs created plus will be in the 150. I mean, MVP type numbers, but this guy was a lot better than that. I don't know how mentally he can handle that, the load on him. As great of a player as he is, I think you're asking the young man to do an awful lot.
Yeah, and he wants to do it, right? So the bottom line is,
he wants to do it. You're going to do it.
Take a look at the rotation for the Dodgers. If you want to see, I don't know what I got. I think we got a 14-man rotation. It's a pretty deep rotation. Now, maybe we're getting a little silly toward the back end.
No, you're not at all.
Even Landon Knack was getting real innings.
All those guys towards the back end got innings at the big league level.
I mean, they added Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki.
So you think about this, rotation. BK, is that for them you got to cover almost 1,200 innings. That top grouping of guys, they don't need to pitch more than 120 innings because you have the guys all below them that are going to pick up the rest of those innings.
Dustin May's pitching tonight, by the way. He once had about the best stuff in the game. He's never stayed healthy, but like when you have this sort of depth, even with Roki Sasaki year one, you could aim, and I guess they will be aiming for, hey, can we get 90 innings to 110 out of everybody? That might do it.
I think that's their model.
Yeah.
I think that's the model. If they can, manipulate the roster with options and things of that nature to keep it happening, I think they've got truly 11 guys to cover all those innings, and I don't think they're going to load anybody. Blake Snell would be the one guy. Not that
he'll give you a full season, right?
He'll give you a full season. He doesn't pitch a ton of innings because he doesn't pitch deep into games, but I think he's the one guy they won't have a governor on, so to speak.
Right.
I think the rest of them are all going to have governors, and I think they plan on giving all these younger guys meaningful innings at the big league level.
It's kind of ironic that now, like, Blake Snell will be their horse. Not that you're getting 200 innings, but I think he goes deep enough in games. He'll
get 150, 160 innings this year.
Right, but pitching almost the whole season.
Correct.
He's been outstanding the last two. Some Dodgers news before before we get you out to the ball game, just a few minutes away. It's from Sonia Chen, who says Roki Sasaki will make his Cactus League debut on Tuesday. So Yamamoto will start. Sasaki will follow. How about that? Hey, who do you think? I'm going to put you on the spot. 2 or 3 years from now, who's better? Roki Sasaki or Yoshi Yamamoto?
Sasaki. He's bigger physically. It's
really
a more athletic body.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think he has a chance to. Well, you said 2 or 3 years. Like, I'm not even sure he's going to be in their opening day rotation right now. It might.
Welcome, everyone. Angels and Dodgers spring training game telecast presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. There is Shohei Ohtani, ready to make his spring debut, coming off a spectacular season, leading the National League in WAR, home runs, RBIs, on base, slugging, OPS plus, total bases. And he'll pitch this year. Not tonight. Won't be pitching until May, but it'll be the Angels and Dodgers. Yusei Kikuchi, big addition for the Angels this year. We'll get the start against Dustin May of the Dodgers. Brian Kenny and Dan O'Dowd back here with you. We've been talking a lot about and Shohei Ohtani and what should be done with him. And we know this is pie in the sky, but it's a fascinating exercise when you get someone who can do something that no one else has done in 120 years of Major League Baseball. It is a good thought exercise to think, what is the best way to utilize this player? And we are having that argument as he will be back pitching again this year.
Yeah, and I think it's a spirited debate. You can go either way because the guy is so talented. I just like to see him on the field day in and day out playing right field and, you know, adding his defensive work.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement. And yet the guy can pitch. I'm one of the top 10 starting pitchers in the game. But can he have the spectacular offensive season at the same time? So just to get to this lineup now, this is Ohtani, of course, DHing. But Mookie Betts at short, Tommy Edman at second. Here's the Angels lineup. They've got some new players in there. Zach Neto is injured right now. Tim Anderson has had a couple of good games.
Yeah, he has. And boy, he's come off from the dead because he had such a bad last 2 years, too. So good for Tim.
Joe Adell playing center field. Logan O'Hoppe, the catcher. Good young catcher, had a nice year last year catching. And then
they had a split squad. They played earlier today. So there's a lot of their everyday players played earlier.
Yeah, Mike Trout included play there, but there's Mookie Betts.
There's a shortstop, Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
you know, I'm getting back to Ohtani, though, too. We haven't talked about his surgery on his left shoulder. A labrum surgery for a hitter is not it's something to actually watch to see how he moves, how his swing moves.
Remember in the World Series, he was definitely hampered by that. Yeah. Angels and Dodgers coming up next week. We'll have that conversation when we come back. Debut for the Dodgers, but Yusei Kikuchi making his Angels spring training debut. Nice little deal for the Angels in the off season. He had a great stretch run with the Astros last year after being traded by Toronto. Dustin May competing for the 5th spot in the rotation. Again, they're 14 deep in LA, and Shohei Ohtani after the shoulder surgery in the off season, and then we'll hopefully start pitching right around May. The Dodgers are hoping for that. Anyway, it's going to be a fascinating year for Shohei Ohtani, Dan.
It really is. He's must-see TV, BK. He's the most interesting player in the game of baseball. And this young man right here he's got such electric ability. Let's see if he can stay healthy.
Dustin May getting ready to go for Dave Roberts, defending World Series champions. Let's get you out to Glendale, Arizona.
Straight to the pro ranks right out of high school. 3-2 pitch. That's hammered to left. This ball's heading back. This ball's gone. Welcome to 2025, Shohei Ohtani, as the show continues to roll.
Well, if memory serves correct, did he not hit a home run in his first at bat last spring as well? And that one was also to left field. Well, there are enough cameras that are poised. Absolutely amazing.
It just sounds different.
It is different.
Wow. What a start.
Okay, we can go home now.
No, stay where you are. He's going to do it again.
And realize again, too, he was behind the count very, very early. So first at bat last spring, home run left field. First at bat this year, home run left field.
Again, but he's coming out. Shohei Ohtani.
大谷翔平とドジャース、2025年に向けた新たな挑戦、歴史的な5-0クラブの達成、史上初の3度目の満票 MVP、そしてワールドシリーズ制覇、大谷翔平の2024年は、まさに夢のようなシーズンだった。しかし、 彼とドジャースの旅はまだ終わっていない。むしろ、ここからが本当の戦いの始まりだ。スプリングトレーニングでは、大谷がバッティング練習を再開し、復帰に向けて順調な歩みを見せている。肩の違和感はまだあるものの、ほぼ思い描いた状態に近づいている。と語る彼の表情には、自信と決意が感じられた。ドジャースの一員として、また新たなシーズンに挑む大谷の姿を見るのが今から楽しみでならない。さらに、今シーズンからは佐々木朗まれという新たな才能が加わった。彼の初ブルペンには多くのメディアが集まり、その注目度の高さを証明した。初日は、思うように投げられなかった。としながらも、分厚い才能とメジャーへの適応力の高さを見せつけた佐々木。ドジャースのピッチングコーチ陣、そして大谷、山本といった日本人エースたちのサポートを受けながら、彼がどのように成長していくのか、期待が高まるばかりだ。そしてブレイク、スネルも新たにドジャースに加わり、ワールドシリーズ連覇を狙うチームにさらなる厚みをもたらす。私は殿堂入りを狙っている。と語るスネルの野心と、クレイトン、カーショーのそばで学びたいという姿勢は、まさに本気度マックス。彼がドジャースのユニフォームを着てマウンドに立つ日が待ち遠しい。もちろん、昨年のワールドシリーズでチームを支えたキケ、ヘルナンデスやブレイク、と来年も再びチームに合流し、2025年のドジャースはさらに盤石な体制に、彼らの経験と勝者のメンタリティが、チーム全体の士気をさらに高めてくれることは間違いない。去年の歓喜を、今年も、大谷翔平が語ったように、昨シーズンの成功はすでに過去のもの。次のシーズンに向けて準備をすることが大切だ。と、彼とドジャースの戦いは、まだまだ続く。2025年も、このチームがどんな奇跡を生み出すのか、目が離せない。そしてあなたも、この歴史的瞬間を一緒に目撃しませんか。ドジャースのシーズンを追いかけ、大谷翔平や佐々木朗まで、スネル、そして全選手たちの活躍を見届けよう。このチャンネルをフォローして、最新情報をお見逃しなく。あなたのコメントも大歓迎。大谷翔平やドジャースに期待すること、見たい試合、そして応援メッセージをぜひコメント欄に残してください。2025年シーズン、さあ行こう。